Hi, this is Self-Discovery Support. Welcome to another open messages. I'm not going to use the word reading because this is really not a reading. It's like thoughts prompted by oracle cards and tarot, etc. Very similar to the your message reading I used to do on this channel. But anyway, so I pulled a card. I was shuffling. I'm using the Decode Your Self-Esteem cards, and they look like this. You get little phrases on the back, and the one that I pulled was like, they're very sharp. These messages are sharp, but they're great for things to think about. It says, stop projecting your past relationships onto new ones. Okay, your expectations are influencing your interactions. Yeah, that is, this is a call out. But there's things that I thought about with this, which, it may have to do with, I think sometimes we get in a situation where we don't realize the cycle that we're in. Like, you don't realize how the way you're treating or relating to people who are maybe your intimate partners, your friends, whatever, you don't realize that it comes from somewhere. And the thing to think about, I was thinking about what are past relationships. We always assume that those are past romantic relationships, but it doesn't have to be. It can be your parents. It can be coming all the way from childhood. It can be a close friendship that maybe you've had for a lifelong. It can be family members, a family you grew up in. And also the thing to know is, like, maybe when we think about this or we hear this, we might say, like, oh no, like, nothing was wrong with my past relationships, nothing was wrong with my childhood. But I think the thing is, it doesn't have to be abusive. This is not necessarily saying that your past relationships were abusive, but the way that you related to those people or that person is influencing you. And that kind of makes me think about attachment theory and neuroplasticity, where you form, your brain kind of forms around the person that you connected to, you attached to in formative years, and also if you are in a long-term relationship with anyone who you're attached to, you form a connection to, it changes your brain. Can you imagine that? Like, it actually changes your brain. The good news is that you can change it back. So, like, if you feel like you became much more anxious in a relationship that you had, you can actually do the work to make that more stable and have a more secure sense of self. And I think that one of the things, like, this thing says stop projecting your past relationships onto new ones. How can you know that? Like, how often we're not aware, right? And that's I find is the thing. Like, if you're not aware, how do you change it? Well, I was thinking about this, and I thought about my own approaches, my own way of kind of keeping myself aware. And it's kind of like, when something's happened, like, let's say you had an argument with someone that you are in a friendship or a romantic partnership or whatever it is with. Now, I think when you calm down, of course, you also think, what is this feeling I'm feeling? Okay, so like right now you might be feeling frustrated, or you might be feeling like this person doesn't hear me, or they don't respect me. And I think if you take that, of course for you it's going to be different, but if you take that kernel and you put it back to, you think about your past, the most significant attachments that you have, so most often it's going to be parents or maybe a long-term partner, your first boyfriend or whatever it is, your first girlfriend, your wife, your husband, whatever it is, you could say, what about our quarrels in that relationship in the past? What were they about? And if you're finding like, oh, this person didn't hear me, this person was so disrespectful, and you're finding like, oh, wait a minute, this is the same thought that's coming up in this current situation, I think that's when you can understand that, okay, there's clearly a choice that we make in people that follow similar patterns, but there's also something that stays with us. So that experience was writing into your brain like, okay, people who argue with me or people who challenge me on this are disrespecting me. Yeah, that's a thought I had. And it's like, okay, what do you do now is, okay, what belief do I have that makes me feel like I'm being disrespected, and is there evidence for it? Sometimes people do things covertly, so I'm not saying you need to have evidence to know that. If it feels wrong for you, then definitely you will know that that's an issue. But you may also find out that maybe you think that everybody that corrects you is disrespecting you. Okay, then that's an issue where you might want to just take some time and look at what the patterns are, how you get into that mindset, and maybe work on that belief. There are a couple affirmations that I'm working on for this channel, and they'll be coming out over the weeks, over the summer, and definitely check them out. But also check out other affirmations and meditations on YouTube. Yeah, that is my thought on this. What are your thoughts about projecting your past relationships onto new ones? Have you done that? Have you caught yourself doing that? And yeah, and also like this thing about expectation, I didn't even address that, which is like, if you're, let's say your mom used to like do all your laundry for you, a lot of people carry that into their like new relationship, right? Like, oh, why aren't you doing all my laundry? Because that's an expectation that often people haven't discussed, and they get upset about it, and it's like realizing like, no, this was what one person did for me, this is a whole new person. So anyway, there is my kind of monologue and thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on this, and take care.